Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I thought I'd just start off with an apology for that ridiculously clickbait title. I've never done one of those on my channel before, and I thought I'd give it a whirl and see how it worked out. Now, the purpose of this video is to show you how to go ahead and paint a very high-end rifle. A rifle that may cost baseline of $3,000 and accessorized as much as $8,000 or $10,000. Now, I've painted a few rifles in my day, and I painted my AR-15 11.5 inch recently and posted it online. And most of the replies were not praises of my rifle, but more asking, well, how did you do that? Who did that? How is the pattern done? Well, it's all spray paint and it's super duper easy to do. Now, if you own a rifle that you consider to be an investment or a collector's item, maybe this isn't the video for you. You're gonna wanna go ahead and look at the Cerakoting option. And then when you get it back, you're going to want to go ahead and put that in the safe and absolutely never shoot it. Now, how is painting an expensive rifle like a Knight's Armament or an HK416 different than painting an arrow or a PSA? Well, PSA and arrows are just as good as Knights and HK, right? So they should paint exactly the same. And in this case, they do. So what you do to a $400 rifle, you can do to a $10,000 rifle. It's spray paint. You should absolutely cover every rifle you own in some sort of spray paint. Now, if you're like me and you'll use your tools often, you're gonna like the way that spray paint wears over time. It actually gives it a really cool battle-worn look that everybody goes for on Instagram, and then everybody falls all over themselves looking at it, reposts it, and just that's the purpose, right? To look really, really cool. As Garantham always says, get training or you won't look cool. Well, paint your rifles or you won't look cool. You look like you just got it out of the Bass Pro Shops sporting goods department. So don't do that. Be cool. Paint your rifles. Paint your expensive rifles, and I'll show you how to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to paint my other Knight's Armament, my 16-inch version, and we're going to do kind of the same thing, but I'm going to document it step by step, showing you how to go about cleaning it, prepping it, disassembling it, masking it, painting it, and then finally reassembling it and showing you the final product. So if that's something that you think you might want to do, is paint your rifle, come with me outside and we'll get it all prepped. Some of the components I will need to paint this rifle will be some degreaser. I use the Simple Green Motor Sports style degreaser. We're going to use some flat paint. I use Krylon. I found it works very, very well. This is their camouflage line. I've got 3 different colors here. This one is 4293 Camouflage Olive. This one is 4292 Camouflage Brown. And this one is 4291 Camouflage Khaki. Additionally, some rubber gloves so you don't get paint all over your hands. Masking tape to tape off portions of the rifle you don't want painted. Those would be things like the trigger, the muzzle device, the front of your flashlight, parts of your optic. Additionally, an X-Acto knife, some scissors, and a cloth. And last 2 items that I use is a piece of cardboard that is big and long enough to put your entire rifle on so that you're not painting your concrete or whatever surface you're going to be painting on, and then a mesh laundry bag. I got this particular laundry bag, and this is cut in half at Target. It folded up into a nice little thing, and I just used the side of it to give me that mesh pattern that we all know and love so much. I think this cost me about $6 at Target. Next steps will be to disassemble the rifle to get it ready for cleaning, because we need a nice clean surface so the paint will adhere to it. It can't have any grease or oils on it. Obviously you want to unload and clear. This one has the bolt lock back. There's no magazine, but I'm just going to quadruple check. So make sure your rifle is unloaded. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the entire bolt carrier group assembly, because it does not need to be in there whatsoever during painting. So I'm just going to take the entire thing out. I'm going to leave the charging handle in because I do want that painted. Now that that is done, I'm going to close the port cover, and I'm going to take off a few things that don't need to be on there right now as we get ready to degrease it. I will also take off my quick disconnect optic because that doesn't have any grease on it whatsoever, and I don't really want to get any of that degreaser on the actual glass. Not because it'll harm it, but just because it's a pain in the ass to get it back off. All I'm really going to do is just coat the rifle. Again, wear gloves. pull back the charging handle, try and wipe it off, because if you store your rifles butt stuck on the ground, a lot of your lube and grease will work its way down to the back of the charging handle. All right, let's take a look. It's mostly off. So I've been letting that sit in the sun for roughly 20 minutes. This is a new clean rag that I just soaked in water just so I can get all of that residue and degreaser off of it. It doesn't need to be dripping wet, but something that will allow you to clean a lot of that degreaser off and get it more onto the towel is helpful. So I'm just going to wipe the whole thing down from head to toe. And we're going to let it dry in the sun again. If you guys watch the channel, you know I've never once cleaned this rifle. In fact, since the day I got it. This might be the cleanest I'll ever get it. Real good. So I'm going to let that sit again in the sun, let it air dry naturally, and then we'll go inside and we will begin masking off all of the parts of the rifle. Now I'm going to start masking off the rifle here. I'm just going to take a few parts off that I don't want painted. So on my stock, I like to take off the rubber butt pad. Obviously in here is the bolt carrier group. You can tell I've never cleaned it. This is how greasy it got. Just me wiping it down, or how nasty it is, I should say. So I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to set the rubber butt pad aside. I've already taken off the optic. I'm going to mask that separately, but I'm also going to disassemble it to take off the kill flash. I'm not going to paint the bipod, honestly. I don't really care that much. It doesn't stay on the rifle often, but I'm going to take off the end cap of the flashlight. And I'm going to take off the mod button light. I like to use fix-it sticks. If you've never seen fix-it sticks, I'll be doing a buy once, cry once review on it, but it's pretty much every possible accessory you could ever want, including a torque stick and every tool for working on your rifles. And then it has a really cool magnetic patch that keeps parts from rolling away when you're out in the field. So highly recommend fix-it sticks. They're fantastic for working on your rifle. I think that's pretty much it. So things I'm going to mask up. I'm going to mask up the threading here. I'm going to mask up the lens. I'm going to mask up the rear aperture. I'm going to mask up the front sight post. I'm going to mask up the trigger. I'm going to mask up the forward assist. I'm going to mask up the muzzle device. Yeah, I'm going to mask up my sling mounts as well. So I think that'll do it as far as masking goes. The nice part about these Knights Armament adjustment screws or windage and elevation knobs is they're etched, so you don't need to mask them off when they are laser printed or hand painted. You got to mask them so you know which way to adjust, and these are etched, so I never need to worry about them even with paint on them. So next item I'm going to do is I'm going to disassemble the ACOG. So I'm going to take part of the kill flash off because I don't want any paint to get on the lens itself. I don't think I've taken this off in 14 years. Yeah, I definitely haven't. Oh, wow, that's on there. Love this LaRue quick disconnect mount. Here it is, all masked off. And here's what I did. I did the muzzle device, I did the threading on the back of the flashlight, I did the flashlight head, I did the front sight post, I did the rear aperture, I did the trigger, I did the forward assist, and I did all of my sling mounts. I also did the actual original mag pull on the bottom of this magazine, and I'm going to paint this magazine. On the scope, I did the front glass, rear glass, and the fiber optic tube. My adjustments are all marked on the inside of the cap, so I didn't have to do anything for that. And I'm going to be painting the scope, the kill flash, and the holders for my mod light. Outside of that, the whole rifle's getting painted along with these components. Everything else will be normal. I recommend that you use a minimum of 2 colors. And typically what I have done in the past is I started with flat olive. I painted the entire rifle olive, then I would go over it once it is dry with the mesh laundry bag and do stripes of khaki and stripes of brown to break up the pattern and give it some depth and an interesting look. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to dust this thing on both sides with some light coats and just get the entire rifle and components covered. So one of the things you want to do is attack it from as many different angles as you can. Top, bottom, right, left, forward and back. That way every surface is getting some coats of paint. Don't forget to move your safety switch. Moving the safety lever. And now comes the fun part, adding color. So we started with the brown. I'm going to start now with the olive. So I got my mesh, and I'm going to just going to layer down. And I'm going to do another happy little stripe right over here. And that's it. I just hit it in different spots. So the tighter you push the mesh, the better the pattern shows. Just little zaps. That's all it really needs. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to use tan. And I like to do twice the width of a normal spray pattern just to break it up a little. Might even lay some over the green a little. Oh yeah, that looks great. Safety lever just so I can get a little bit of color onto it. And flip the safety switch. Yeah. Okay, so the paint has dried. I took off all of the masking off of everything like the forward assist and the trigger and the muzzle device and the flashlight and all the parts of the optic I didn't want painted. And I've reassembled all the components, and then I took all of the components and I reassembled them onto my rifle. I reinstalled my sling, and the final result I'm fairly happy with. Here she is, the AR-15 fully painted up, and it's, oh, actually, you know what? it's not ready yet. Oh yeah, okay. Now she's ready. Oh my gosh, look at that. That absolutely looks gorgeous. This is, you know, just a little bit of range bag. Make sure your suppressors are nice and cold before you try and lean them up against anything. I think it adds to the character myself, and that'll bake off as I shoot it more. But yeah, overall, ooh, I am super happy with the way this turned out. It turned out super sexy. Very, very pleased. Hopefully that interested you. I hope that you go ahead and give it a shot. It's really not that hard. It maybe took me about an hour to do the actual painting. The waiting was actually about 3 hours, just because I like to make sure that my paint is nice and dry before I flip it over on cardboard so I don't smear it and get it all messy. But as this wears and breaks in, it will have that nice battle-worn look on all the places that I touch it the most. Ooh, touching my rifle. So it'll look absolutely great if I ever get an Instagram account and post it to that. And I hope that you follow suit and get inspired by this and show me the rifles that you are going to paint. As always, I really appreciate when you guys watch my content. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, a thumbs down. Comment, like, subscription, bell. I don't know how any of that stuff works. I just hear other people say it, so I'm saying it. So whatever that is, do that. That sounds awesome. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Take care.